about to work in the flow. I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but there's a reason why I'm called Nerd Queen. The things I like to do, the times I like to do them in, I purposely, or maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say purposely, perhaps I just want to always know I have options. And that's something interesting when it comes to, um, let's see, when it comes to creating. I have options. I don't make for others. And right now, I mean, I do make for others, but I just want people to realize that I make because I have this drive to make. And while I'm here listening to something about some ancient aliens, I'm putting together or getting back into scrapbooking or a form of scrapbooking. In a moment, I can show you one of my other let's see, uh, CD covers. Yeah, I made a CD. Like I used to be. I am not used to be. I am a collagist. Okay. Um, Give me just a second. All right, so I'm just letting the internet tell me what is interesting. So they're gonna give me a rundown of the indigenous peoples from. Uh-oh. Scroll. So the title says it's a complete history of indigenous people before Columbus. Um, it's looks like it's like 3 hours, which is fine. I don't know if I'll be on here for 3 hours, but it's nice to be able to listen and learn and create all at the same time. So that's usually what I tend to do. Okay, so a common book I can tell you is kind of like a scrapbook, kind of like a journal. That's the best way I can just describe it. And I'm repurposing a journal right now that is, let's see, it used to be a gratitude journal. And which I still love to have the gratitude for it. I'm just gonna adjust it a little bit more. So what I have for this, because like I said, I want to repurpose it. When I break in journals, I usually, I guess, anoint it or whatever. Think about a ship, right? It's like you're on a journey, literally. So I blessed this one. I didn't want to remove the old pages because I feel like there is energy in these pages, so that I need to be, I don't want to say humble, but remember where you came from, basically. So as I didn't want to get rid of these pages, so what I did is learn to like do some pockets in it, as you can see here. And I found some post-its that I like, so that's how I'm gonna use these. I'm just put little things. Maybe I find things, because I do. I tend to have such knickknacks, and I don't know if you're like me, but I've got such things I find that I pick and pull somewhere. So yeah, all right. And so this particular, I have an ambition to have a common book for 3 different things, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But we'll see. But right now, since I am so much into personal development, and this has been a lifelong thing, I kind of want to organize a journal in a way that maybe this is something I can share with other people. So yeah, I'm trying to find a way to adjust my cord so that boinging doesn't happen again. So, and then I can get a chance to sit down. All right, so I want this common book to be about personal development, physically, spiritually, in a lot of different ways. So I've already, like I said, I've already started using it a little bit. I like post-it notes as a teacher. I tend to put things on a post-it and then put it in a book. Maybe I'll use it later. Again, as I said earlier, I'm a collagist, so working like that really does help with being able to get information to other pages. So yeah, so common book is kind of different from a journal because you are collecting things, insights. It's like um once you heard something, as some people say, is does it resonate with you? If something resonates with you, this is where you kind of catch it and keep it here. So I've got a saying that, like I said, resonated with me, and I wrote it in there, and then maybe even your own insights. So as you can see, yeah, you know, so that's kind of where I'm going with this. And I'm also a biohacker. So if you see notes on methylene blue, that's I already forgot. But basically, and this is what reason why I'm keeping it. So it helps me remind me: do I need this or do I not need this? Um, and you know, you would be surprised how things come in certain packages. So yeah. Um, and I don't quite remember where I was, what was I doing to be able to catch this one. It says grow, subtle, and casual, probably energy. Exist here and now. It is only the limited mind itself that creates division. So if you're, I guess, in spiritualness, I guess the gross body or gross energy, the subtle energies, the subtle body, or the causal body, or energy. So these are different ways of understanding us, understanding our world, understanding yourself. So again, this is, like I said, very much a um, collect collect what made you say, oh, and when I'm teaching the kids how to write, I usually give them like that cue of something made your mouth twitch, or something made your eyebrow go up, or something made you go, oh, so we have to start remembering and recognizing what made you go. I mean, okay, might date me too. So Arsenio Hall had a segment in his show, the things that make you go, not necessarily in a bad way. You know what I mean? So think about it in that way. So a common book, scrapbook, and what I mean by scrapbook also, because I do tend to journal a lot in different ways. So I've got I guess for better, uh, for I'll call it is a life book, but it is like a manifestation vision board journal. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. So that's what that is. But I have one of those, and it has pictures and words and things like that. So I don't know if I'll make it like this. I might draw some things because I haven't done any drawing in a while, and like I said, I feel like this would be something I would want to share more out in the open with people, rather than to just have it, for myself or whatever. So yeah, so I'm sure somebody was like, well, why didn't she have any pictures? Yeah, so I might be drawing some things. I don't want to necessarily go cut things out of magazines and stuff. Now you did see something I pulled earlier, and that's a very specific reason too. I think it was like very, very, very trying to look for the right kind of word. Peculiar. It was very peculiar that page that I liked, that made me go, I like this. to see on what's on the other side of it. So that's what I'm saying. So yeah, with this particular journal, it is one of those. And like I said, kind of, I don't know, a little spiritually, a little woo wooey and stuff like that. And as I'm working on pulling up things and thinking about where to place them, I'm trying to also make sure I'm protecting some privacies here too. So if you see me trying to cover up certain things, that's the reason why. So yeah, so I'll start pulling stuff from there. And let's see. Oh yeah, I like this. Yeah, I got a lot of notes this week. A lot of good gems. So people usually ask me, I was like, "What are you doing with all?" Like, I do listen to a lot of podcasts. And even right now, I'm listening and learning at the same time and doing. So that's to me it being in flow, and maybe even this is a demonstration of like different brain states, that when you feel relaxed and happy, you are more open to learning. And what's more relaxing than doing your one of your art things, right? It's very relaxing. So at the same time, I feel like I could be sharing all of these things to you with you. Okay. The hydrogen studies. But anyway, maybe I should also put something here just in case people are like, well, what did I run myself into? Because I feel like this is a great experiment in creativity, a great masterclass, as they say, in how to be creative. Um, I think what started me in a lot of ways was just the fear of not, uh, I don't know, the fear of not being understood, right? And because you have like such deep thoughts sometimes, and you really just want to do, I don't know, whatever. I feel like I'm getting gooey. Maybe that's why I'll never be famous on YouTube or whatever. But let's see here. So maybe I'll start with the piece that I tour. Yeah, so I'll work with that. So I got this from uh, a lecture on the brain. So I'm learning still more about like the actual physical brain and how energy and our brain matter, like the stuff, um, is making these connections. Because I'd been learning about body systems and things like that, because I love working with herbs and healing the body and things like that. And I was like learning, trying to find out more about how can we make these connections, right? How can we make more connections between the physical and the spiritual world? Like, there's got to be more. Like, we got to have more people on this, right? Trying to figure it out. So, as I was like, maybe, hmm, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I want to put a drawing here. I think I do. I feel like I want to put a drawing here because it's one of the very first. It's like, I know this is, it's kind of like, it is literally the note from when I was listening to. So as I've been doing other things around the house, like cleaning or something like that, doing a small repair, like earlier this evening, I was trying to fix a fan, and I don't know if it's gonna make it, but I was trying to work on, like I said, that's what I'm saying. Working in flow, like while doing one job, I'm listening and then taking notes. So this particular lecture is when it large groups. When in large groups, you can lower your own consciousness can be lowered. So they're starting to understand that, I guess ideas, yeah, we already know this, but ideas do influence. Ideas influence us. And I mean, people have been saying it for centuries. Like, you are the company that you keep. You know, we are the company that we keep. And I'm looking at some of these. I kind of want to mix it up too. I don't want it necessarily to be like feel chronological. Um, I don't know. Okay. But you definitely have like so much in this world that we all need to be working on, right? With our own healing process that we just, I don't know. We really just don't have the luxury of, I don't know. I'm just rambling now, sorry. Because I just realized a new voice showed up on the screen. So a lot of people ask me, like, how can you talk and listen at the same time? It's like, I'm a musician, friend. A musician, got my training at Auburn University. Okay. So this, I feel like, is a major story in our whole consciousness, and I can explain that in a minute. Okay. So what it's saying is that we all, what I want to say about it is that we tell ourselves, we give ourselves the story versus we all have pain. And I think everybody feels like if I color my pain a certain color, then everybody's going to pay attention to it. But really, we all have the same pain. It might come in different packages. We all, I don't want to say just pain, but we all feel things, right? So that's kind of where I'm going with this. But at the same time, we are the narrative animals. Um, but in the end, we need to know who we are as that collective, as that community, right? That is the seeking of self. And some people call it God or the higher power, or whatever, the creator. I mean, we gotta we gotta figure it out. But anyway, sorry. And then scientifically, I just remembered listening to something just today. I'm gonna tear this piece while I'm doing this. I just heard that um, neurons vibrate together, and that's kind of where there was another note here too. The first one actually. That's it's exactly from the same lecture. So the lecture was about neurons and how we teach the kids this is how you learn. It's like when you start doing a new thing, you are pretty much teaching your mind to pay attention just long enough to learn something quick, right? And when that happens, it's like all the rest of the neurons start, paying attention. You just there's a whole thing about it. But what I'm trying to say, there are neurons that start as a little. Think of it like a drop in a puddle, a drop in a pond, right? If somebody tossed a pebble in it, and that one center point, that beginning spot, had the drip in it, and then from the drip comes all these waves, right? And then all these waves, oh sorry, uh, start to work together. And I feel like it's raining outside. I think it might be. Anyway, all right. So, but in order for people to hang on to the story or hang on to the ego, there's also the difference between self and ego and all this stuff. Sorry if it's getting kind of woo woo, but from the ego, we have yeah. From our ego, we have to have a story to tell, right? We got to say, well, this is the reason why I'm hurting so much. This is the reason why, right? So sometimes we stick to our stories. Sometimes we linger too hard on who hurt us and all the other things to the point where you end up doing the same to others, you know? You become the monster. And that, that's just weird, you know? All right. Um, yeah, and even these notes, if I'm putting them in here, I would actually put this in the front because I see how now it's making sense to me. Watch. You see what I'm about to do? We are narrative animals. When in large groups, you can lower consciousness. Yeah, yeah. See? You see what I'm saying? There you go. Told y'all. In the flow. And I'm trying to see how this camera work is going. Sorry, it's like I've got a very spongy whatchamacallit, clamp. Yeah, very spongy and it's moving a lot. But I'm sorry. And at the same time I'm trying to sit in this chair while I'm trying to put this together. Alright. And now let's see if I get it in there. Y'all be wondering how I be doing it. Alright, that's how I'm doing it. Uh-huh. So maybe I can bring more of this over. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh my goodness. Where is it? Oh, oh, there we go. Okay, I was wondering where it was. Okay. All right. I'm laughing because it sounds like this documentary put the eagle calls in the song. They were on too much on beat. I was like, what is happening over there? Anyway, all right. So yeah, so you are not what happened to you. You're not your poverty. You're not your trauma. Okay. We seek what we seek is ourself. Okay, coming back to ourself, the story of who we really are. And this works for me. Okay, we'll put it in there. So now you're gonna be listening for this hawk. This hawk is, I don't know, singing with the drums or something weird. But the drums are the soundtrack. If that makes it's weird. All right, here we go. Okay, there we go. Nice. I can always put that more down later on that. All right. So I was reminded of this practice that I had meant to look up, yoga nidra. It's when you like make your body as like lifeless as possible. I believe it is what is called a death pose. So yeah, so you release all muscle in your body as much as possible. You literally like just let go. And even though I don't necessarily know this technique, when I'm helping kids, I usually tell them like I need you to just completely melt into the floor and let everything go to the point where you feel like the floor is holding you up, which the floor is holding them up. And they are really receptive to that. So, but I feel like a lot of times adults don't have that like freedom to just let go, right? Just let go. And in order to do that, yeah, so that was the thing. Okay, so that reminds me, I want to make a chart of the brain states and what they look like because this is why this would make sense. When I was in high school and I was already writing a lot of songs by that time, but I ended up asking a lot of people because I was just getting really, I guess, frustrated thinking about like, well, why do some people like certain kinds of music and they don't listen to the words, right? And just a second here. I feel as though I'm just gonna go ahead and turn the sound all the way down now. And even better, I may just stop the video so that I can stop having some. There we go. All right. So so I feel like I was just really frustrated as a teenager, just asking myself, like, why is it that some people like certain kinds of music when if they're not listening to the words, they're saying the most like degrading things, right? Really like I don't know, just really not good. So I would just ask, and some people would say, I don't know, I just like the beat. The beat sounds good, that kind of thing. And back then I was like, what are they talking about? Like, are you serious? Like, really? But then as I started getting more into like doing like research around cognitive health, I started to understand the importance of definitely mindfulness and understanding how people fall into certain brain states. And one of those ways is through like drums and that kind of thing, and breath work. It's just, I don't know, very fascinating. So what I wanted to see is how, yep, and that's where it is. See, yeah, I remember things. I remember things. All right, so now let's see. I'm gonna pull this off. Yeah, I did a lot of notes for this. I was like, oh, this is such awesome stuff. And then I got a name to remember and everything. All right, cool. And I'm sure y'all are wondering, like, wait a minute, aren't you a singer-songwriter? What are you doing with all this stuff? I'm sorry, I'm hearing some weird stuff outside right now. It sounds like owls singing to each other. Okay, that was kind of strange. All right, so yeah, you might ask yourself like, well, wait, I thought you just played songs and stuff, or I thought you were a teacher or whatever. It's like, yeah, and you see, I mean, it's like, I just feel like sometimes it's not, I don't think it's anybody's fault, I think that I found myself under certain conditions or situations that led me to where I am right now, where I've learned to think for myself through support from family and stuff, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I just realized it's like, I think there are some people starting to not have to do what everybody else is doing. Right? Like, you could be free, okay? Be happy, be free. Like, you don't have to suffer anymore, right? Suffer in silence in whatever it is you do. It's like, it's, yeah. But yeah, definitely, this answers a lot for me. Because this is not the first time I've seen this where drumming calms your neurons to, start working in unison. So yeah, your neurons move in unison as you slip into meditation or sleep. Yeah. So that's, like I said, I need to make a chart for myself. Oh, so again, yeah, so as I'm learning all this stuff, and I'm sure you're asking yourself again, why would a singer-songwriter be doing all this work or whatever? Like, this is a lot. Like, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm a curious person, first of all, I guess. And then sometimes life happens to where you probably need to be doing this, right? Um, I think for me it was like, oh wait, let me make sure I have, okay, ooh, that was something else. All right. I think for me, I I never played the game, right? The game of, oh, you got to be like us to be cool and stuff. It's like I don't care. It's like I'm like, that's fine. There are people who really do just, I don't even care. I used to be. I feel like what I like to call a contrarian, and contrarians are really, they're no different than everybody else who is a follower or whatever, right? They're the same. They're just on different side of the coin. They are the same. So yeah, and I used to be a contrarian, and I'm not. I got to be honest. But with being not a contrarian or whatever, it's like I don't even know what I am now. It's like a sovereign. I don't know why put a name on it. Whatever. But it's always interesting that, I don't know. I'll get lost in my thought here. So and I don't know if you noticed, I saw myself reading before actually saying something different than what I was reading. Um, so yeah, this is separate from this. That's what I was realizing. This is maybe what it is. Like, sometimes the contrarian is not quite ready to go into that shadow. They're too busy trying to be like, well, I'm a light worker, or I'm a blah, 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 or whatever. I'm a star seed, or whatever. They're too busy trying to be on the one of the good guys, right? It's like, ma'am and sir, it's like, you are not. None of us are. None of us are none of those things. But I think moving away from being what is called, like I said, what I like to call the contrarian, is knowing that you know you got evil in you, and you need to make good with it, or what is called evil. I'll just say that. Recognize your shadow. And that's a Yin, Carl Jung kind of thing. Yes. Carl Jung. And I need to get a beverage, because I'm now doing my handiwork over here. I may have to pause and leave you with a thought here. Okay. Kind of like this format. I might have to do this more often. I feel like I want to, whatever people talk about these algorithms or whatever, there's no algorithms, but like, we're people, right? It's like, of course, a musician also writes in a journal. Of course, a musician also reads books. Oh my goodness. Of course, a musician also has journals and has deep thoughts about the universe. OMG, right? So it's like, we are not any one thing at, that kind of thing. All right, so yeah, I need to take a bit of a beverage. So yeah, and find some more post-its actually. So all right, I'll be right back. All right. Whew, I'm back. I needed that. It's important to stay hydrated. It is summer. All right. So you know what? It's so interesting that I was thinking, I was like, well, how can I get my channel back up and running and being cool and stuff, and or be me basically. It's like, well, maybe I need to be playing music on this channel, or maybe I should be um uh yeah, maybe I should be playing music on this channel, or maybe I should be giving out advice on this channel or whatever. It's like, well, maybe it should be a a blog, right? I mean, a lot of people always ask. Now I know what's actually going on outside. It's so funny. Okay, so we got about a few days until the 4th of July here in the United States. And I totally forgot a bunch of kids were shooting fireworks earlier. And it is way late right now. And they're still out there doing it because I can see them from down the hill. That is interesting. All right. So yeah, so that's the weird sound. I was like, what is that weird sound? All right. So yeah, so I'm thinking all the things I like to do in order to be a singer-songwriter, I've got to let people know that, right? To me, that makes sense. And that's why people connect with certain types of music. It's not always about the beat. Sometimes it's the lyrics and the story behind it. And sometimes people really do want to know, like, well, how does that work? Whatever. Okay. So I feel like I know how to explain this part. Well, let me tear it first and then get in here. Yeah, so as I was saying, I do like this particular format because it does show my creative process. Sometimes I'm doing other things, or sometimes I'm sitting there doing the thing. All right. So yeah, so mirror neurons, and I'll have to put this on a different page. So mirror neurons, I need to double check what I think this is, but with mirror neurons, people project their whatever their issue, let's just call them their issues, onto other people. It's like, think of it this way: the person that's always like, well, that person's a narcissist and that person's a narcissist. It's like, well, um maybe if everybody around you is a narcissist, then maybe you must be the narcissist. At least, I guess, metaphysically, you know? That's what people would think. So, and from what I remember, mirror neurons is basically what I talked about what I talked about right here. They move in unison. Yeah. So that's where that goes. They move in unison. And you just happen to see what you are doing in somebody else. So yeah, there you go. You get to see. You get to see. All right, so I do like I said, I like this format. This might be a great way for me to get me more motivated to finish a lot of the work around this house. All right, so mirror neurons leads to, you think? Projection. I don't know. Do I like it right there? I feel like I want to put it somewhere else. Yeah. I don't want to be that. So yeah. Yeah. So this makes more sense. Okay, so move this over here. And it says recognizing your own shadow and then talking about shadow. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm putting together a book. And believe it or not, yes, I want to also have this book, this commonplace book. And I think I kind of trailed off already about what a commonplace book is, but I'm coming back right now. All right. So I want to be able to make this book something people can have. That's what I'm saying. It's like I want to kind of leave it kind of spacey a little bit for people to put in their own notes and things and see how I'm basically being creative. I don't know. Being curious and then being creative with it. Playing, right? Arts and crafts. Who doesn't like a good arts and crafts, huh? I mean, seriously. Think about it. Everybody does it. Like, that's something from, think about what is your arts and craft. Everybody's got one. That's not what your job is. Okay. So people like to do their hair, nails. Some people like to do tattoos, piercings, dress a certain kind of way, uh, you know, fix their car, their vehicle a certain kind of way, right? So everybody's got a arts and craft, and it, I hate to say they call them hobbies, but it's your art and your craft. It is your art and your craft. Okay. All right. So, dreams are communication. Like, I feel like, ooh, yeah, that sounds like it needs to be around the shadow stuff. So, when we react and we just do, the things. So think Jerry Springer, right? The just like you just go ham on somebody or something, and you don't have that control that you think you have in those kind of states. And when we learn how to be more mindful in what we do, sorry, we tend to not think about like, oh no, there's like maybe I need somebody else to tell me. Like we really do have it all in us. And there is a video I did do, wow, long ago. No, maybe not that long ago. I don't know. Where, yeah, we've got a communication. We have a communication system within us ourselves. Like, it's our intuition. It's our gut feeling, So, yeah, I feel like I'm going to put that somewhere else. But our dreams, they do talk to us. They speak to us. And life is meant to be enjoyed. That's basically what this is saying right here. And then this date, I was trying to figure out from the interview of this doctor, Dr. Hollis, I believe, I think. No. I don't think it was Dr. Hollis. But anyway, so there was a poet, don't lay waste your powers. This was something said in 1802, okay? You are worth thinking about, basically, like, some good stuff here. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And I do have some more stuff, like, here. So everybody, that's, I feel like that should be a homework assignment. Instead of just being on a screen or something. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to figure out, well, what do I need to do? Because I don't really want to watch TV right now or anything, or a documentary. I can listen to something, I guess, but it would also be nice to be able to get into my, what it is I do. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I could do that. I should have been doing this like earlier tonight. But it wasn't until right now that I was like, you know what? I could be actually filming me doing it for accountability and to help people be more curious about my creative process. So hopefully it does build up some, I don't know, interesting things here. Yeah. I don't want to pull too much of these apart. Like, I might have to still group them just because I don't feel like they're ready to be on the paper yet. Okay. I'm also trying to write a nonfiction book too, y'all. So that's another thing. So I want this, what I'm doing right here, to be something that can inspire people. Like, like those poetry books or whatever. Think of it like a poetry book, inspirational book / workbook. Because I'm trying to leave pages and stuff too. Journal, all that stuff. So yeah, so I'm I don't know. So Dr. Hollis was talking about someone in his family who had like real like a lot of health issues, and it was something that was it's like it was almost like a snowball effect where one thing led to another thing and all that stuff. And or you're trying to live a life that you know it doesn't belong to you, because sometimes people hold that stuff in and then it's coming out somewhere else, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm literally just kind of regurgitating some union here. Yeah. um we all, like I said, I think I said it earlier, it's like we got to make friends with our demons, and not necessarily sit there and say, well, I conquered my demons and all the things. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm getting sleepy now, but yeah, some more ideas. Like, I just, when I'm in the flow and I just start doing other things, I start getting other ideas, because now I know why. Scientifically, it's like when you get into, and it is a form of meditation. It's when you get into your alpha state and then you're just like in the flow, and then your mind starts to wander a little bit, and then you get ideas or you get learning. Okay, you get ideas or you get learning. And sometimes I get both. So yeah, so that's why I kind of need stuff around me to be like, I need to write it down while I'm trying to put stuff on the wall or something. All right, so thought experiments for adults. And I need somewhere digitally to hold certain things, because I do have certain things for folks. Um, because when I was giving music lessons, I also felt like I had to give a lot of life coaching lessons too. So I kind of had to start thinking about, well, what do I say to people? And me being also a K-12 educator, I was like, what do I tell people when they ask me certain questions, And that's kind of what started me on thinking about a book in the first place. It's where I had a woman, she was like in her 20s, and she wanted to learn how to play guitar. And one one of the very first times or questions that she did ask, she was like, well, how do you practice? And for me, that was like a whoa, I froze kind of a moment where I was just like, well, I don't like, you know, I really had to think about like, well, how do I practice? Because I mean, the way I would practice would not be the way I would tell you how to start, right? And that's kind of where it all started for me wanting to write a book about learning. It's so interesting. So this is where I am. Who knows? I can't even remember what year that was. It was long before 2020. I tried to take like audio notes on my one of my phones. Like, that's why I still have a pile of phones somewhere, because I'm like, I need to get that recording. I want to say maybe 2017. Yeah. All these ideas, they just keep coming up. So yeah, I think maybe we're also in a place where if you find me, that you realize that you now have found yourself in the next obstacle in your spiritual journey, if that makes sense. You know that we're all trying to reclaim our childhood and our programming and our beliefs. We're all kind of going back. And maybe there was like a lot of things that were done in the last 40 years, 50 years, who knows, that tried to be like the rambunctious, rebellious kid spiritually, like, and rebel as a society. But now I think maybe we're at a point where people can be responsible with their childlikeness. So are you the big kid or are you a little kid? And that's kind of where I was like, wow, we're all relearning how to be better people, you know? And everyone is a recovering child. We really are. Wait, I don't know if you can see that. Everyone is a recovering child, right? But the thing is, are you the big kid or are you the little kid? So I want to show you what the little kid is. Um, the little kid wants someone to tell them what to do, and they're looking for the easy fix, and they're also finger pointing. And usually when I have students and they want to go tattle on somebody, and they say, Miss Arrington, blah 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 blah, they did that. I was like, well, you're pointing one finger at one person, but there's three more back at you, sweetie. So I need you to think about what are you trying to avoid? You know? So back to that shadow work kind of thing. Like, what are you trying to avoid? But the big kid is willing to do this work. They know that, look, oh, it's scary down there, you know? It is. It's scary. But the big kid is going to do it because it's like, look, I know this is where I got to, grow up again, you know? So we're all recovering children. And I know hopefully you saw at least maybe this. Maybe you can use it as a journal prompt. I don't know. Maybe I should. Yeah, I'm going to try to end this video with this. Ask and live in the right questions. As children, we did. Okay? And that's a part of my project where I need to, really start recording some stuff. It's time. It is time to reclaim our childhoods. That's why I love those cosplayers out there. I mean, you see any of my social media, I've got, me in costumes and stuff. I love it. Okay? So I think we need to start thinking, are we going to be the big kid or are we going to be the little kid? Okay? But yeah. All right. With that, I'm going to say take care.